Thanks so much for joining us here on the Daily Racing Form YouTube. I'm Gino Buccola alongside David Aragona. Make sure to hit subscribe on the channel below. That way you'll be alerted every time we have videos just like this. We head on out to Tampa Bay Downs for a couple stakes races this weekend. First up is going to be race number 4, $150,000 up for grabs in the Pasco. We have 3-year-olds in here, David, and a lot of times connections can use these Tampa races as sort of a stepping stone for horses that they want to get a race in going a little longer, because this is a 7-furlong race. In race number 5, we have the fillies going 7 furlongs. So it's kind of a good spot for some connections who want to get things started, or maybe want to just check out if their horses can go a little bit longer, because the bulk of this field has been doing their best work going a little bit shorter, usually around 6 furlongs.
Yeah, not the biggest fields in either of these stakes races for the 3-year-olds on Saturday, but this Pasco has 3 pretty nice horses drawn in the
Yep.
3 outside post positions, as you can see on the morning line, led by Owen Almighty, who has done little wrong so far in his career. An impressive winner of a stakes race at Ellis Park this summer, and then the runner-up in the Iroquois last time behind the very talented Jonathan's Way.
Always curious in a small field what Timeform US thinks as far as the pace projector is concerned. We head on over and take a look there. And no surprise, when you have 3 talented horses, they've got tactical speed, they've got positional speed, but it does look like Rookie Card is the fastest of the runners in here. Naughty Rascal and Owen Almighty have been a little bit more positional speed, tactical speed horses. They can kind of use it to sit trips, but I think Rookie Card's really the speed horse in here.
Yeah, he's been vying for the lead in all 3 starts so far. He just looks like a pretty aggressive son of Adios Charlie, so the kind of horse that likes to control his races. So you would imagine he'll get an aggressive ride. We'll see how much intention is shown for the number 3 Cockeyed to his inside, who just doesn't look naturally as quick, but did win gate to wire when he broke his maiden last time out.
Let's meet the field for the $150,000 Pasco 7 furlongs, race 4 on Saturday at Tampa Bay Downs. Well, number 1 is Juan Colorado, who was a runner-up on the turf last time out. He broke his maiden going 5.5 on the dirt. That was against maiden 25 claimers. So he's like positive. He has a win at Tampa, but he possesses the lowest buyer top in the field and just feels like he's going to have to improve a lot to compete with the outside 3 horses here.
Yeah, tough spot for this horse. I will say, when I watched his races, he seems like a likable sort. I mean, he tries really hard. I mean, his maiden victory, when you kind of forget that it was a $25,000 maiden claimer, was kind of impressive, and he ran well on the turf last time. Just feels a little overmatched at this level.
Yep. The number 2, very bold, broke the maiden in a maiden restricted race. That was at Churchill Downs. And those are races that are restricted to horses who sell for a certain amount. So you just get them in maybe a more competitive type race. Very bold. Then after that race, which was on the slop where he broke his maiden, stepped up and tried a group of winners on the synthetic at Turfway. So kind of tough to get a feel for him here on a fast dirt track, because he's really only run over that once. And he was an okay third. I don't really have a whole lot of problems with the overall form. It's just going to be tough with some of those outside horses who seem a lot faster than him early. Just doesn't have a lot of early speed here.
I know. I wish I saw a little more early pace in this race, because I actually think this horse is kind of interesting. He ran pretty well to get up for a third over a Keeneland track that was favoring horses towards the front end in October. I liked his maiden win quite a bit too back. I mean, the runner-up looked like he was going to win that race for fun at the quarter pole, and Very Bold just kept maintaining those strides through this stretch to run over him in the late stages. Got a solid speed figure, and horses have come back out of that maiden victory to improve. The runner-up came back in his next start, improved by 16 buyer points. Others have improved their figures out of that race. And I don't care too much about the synthetic race last time. We've seen Owen Hardy have some success recently switching horses from synthetic to dirt. So this one's a little interesting at a price, could get in there for the exotics.
Cockeyed could have a say in this race as far as pushing the pace a little bit. He showed some speed last time out when he was able to break his maiden at Tampa, and he beat maiden special weights. And the third place finisher in that race came back to win a maiden special weight next out with a 65 buyer speed figure. So overall, the body of work is not bad when you can probably eliminate that turf debut, and you got a little bit of foundation in there. What do you think about Cockeyed in this spot?
Yeah, the third and fourth place finishers both came back to improve their buyers by 26 points each next time. So maybe that gives you the idea that that 57 buyer could be upgraded a little bit. This horse still would have to get significantly faster to compete with this field, and he's likely to have Rookie Card breathing down his neck early if he tries to send from his inside post. So not the easiest trip coming for Cockeyed.
The aforementioned rookie card is up next. He broke his maiden in his third career start, but in his first two, he did face some nice runners. His career debut, he lost to a horse named Tip Top Thomas, who came back out of that race to finish second next time out in the Grade 1 Champagne. And then in the most recent race, David, when he breaks his maiden right here on October the 26th at Aqueduct, the horse who's running third in this race is a horse named Treaty of Rome, who was just second, beaten only a neck in the Mucho Macho Man Stakes last weekend. So he has faced some nice company, and it is a nice kind of stepping stone for him to take a shot against these stakes foes and see, can he stretch it out a little bit farther, and how good really he is when you get a nice test against horses like Naughty Rascal and Owen Almighty.
And you might have seen right there as rookie card crossed the wire in front, he jumped that shadow right at the finish line. I think he wasn't used to being all alone in front because he's been dueling with horses and both of his two prior starts, as you said, facing some good company, especially that debut race where even the fourth place finisher Sovereignty came back to win the Street Sense a couple starts later. So he's kept good company along the way. I don't think he was beating the best field last time in terms of sprinters, but I like his early speed coming into this spot because I think he's naturally faster than that horse to his inside, and I just project him to get a pretty good trip in this race. His speed figures are solid against this group, and he might not be favored with Owen Almighty in the field.
The number 5 Naughty Rascal has really never run a bad race. He's a very honest horse. And you were talking about horses that are fun to root for. This is kind of one of them because he just shows up, really doesn't matter the distance or the surface. He just gives it his all each and every time. They scratched him out of the Mucho Macho Man last week to run in this spot. And while it's a shorter field, it's not the easiest spot in the world with Owen Almighty and with rookie card inside of him, but it's probably a better spot for him overall. He's run previously at Tampa. This was a good second when he was chasing the heavy favorite that day, a horse who got away and got loose on the front end. And he's a multiple stakes winner, and he's won at a mile on the turf. So the 7 furlong distance on the dirt shouldn't be a problem because we know he could get the distance on the turf. Just feels like a nice spot for him. He's a very honest horse. I don't know if he's going to be a mile and a quarter horse down the line, but at this point, he's a very solid 3-year-old, I think, in a spot like this.
Yeah, I think you just have to respect this horse's versatility to win sprinting on the dirt, and going longer on the turf. I mean, he can really do it all, and he's got a very versatile running style as well, where he's able to make his own good trips. And I think being drawn towards the outside here, he should slot into that good stalking trip. Maybe 3 wide, sitting perched off rookie card and any other speed that likes to go in here. So I like his upward trajectory in the speed figures, and I agree he ran pretty well last time. I think he is stepping up against 2 pretty talented foes drawn on either side of him, but I respect what this horse has done so far.
It might be the spot where you could kind of get him against some of the better horses if they're not quite ready for their best, right? If they have big campaigns planned for the year and you can see this kind of the starting point for a horse like Owen Almighty. Maybe Naughty Rascal is sort of the now horse who can kind of catch them right now. Kind of reminds me of the race last week at Oakland, the Smarty Jones, where you had the horse coming over from Remington. Might not be the horse down the line that's the best, but the horse who's kind of in the best form right now might be able to catch him with Naughty Rascal. And Owen Almighty was a very nice 2-year-old last year, David. He was kind of towards the tip top of the division, broke his maiden. Then he was a good, then he came back and won the juvenile at Ellis Park. And he was a good second in the Iroquois at Churchill. And you have Irad coming over to ride him. He's a stakes winner, grade 3 place with the top buyer in the field. And he actually ran that buyer back in September. So there's probably been some improvement here, some maturity. It feels like a really nice starting point for Owen Almighty here.
Yeah, and he might not have to improve very much on that victory in the Ellis Park Juvenile, going this exact 7 furlong distance where he beat a pretty good horse in Politically Correct. And that was going all the way back to August of his 2-year-old season. So with routine improvement, he's supposed to be tough for this field to handle. I will say this is the one horse in the field that you could imagine the connections might have some Derby aspirations down the line. So along the lines of what you were suggesting, I doubt that Pasco is the ultimate goal for Owen Almighty. And, he stretched out to the mile last time and ran just fine behind Jonathan's Way. In retrospect, maybe that Iroquois wasn't quite as tough as it looked immediately coming out of there, given how Jonathan's Way lost his next couple of starts, being a little disappointing. But still, Owen Almighty's coming in with some strong credentials, appears to be trading well. I expect another good effort.
Small field, but an interesting group, especially those 3 to the outside to see how good they really are. David, how are you going to stack them up in here with your selections?
Yeah, I just really like the speed of rookie card. I can see him getting loose on fractions that are comfortable for him in this race. And I know he's got to stretch out to the 7 furlongs, but I think this horse has shown talent, shown grit in his races. And I expect him to, just be primed for a good effort against his main rival, Owen Almighty. But I respect Naughty Rascal as well. And I could see him going off as the 3rd choice in this spot.
Yeah, this is an interesting small field because I do think you have to respect at least those outside three. And both of us include the two in the bottom of the exotics. I agree with you on that horse who might be a little bit better than looks. And if you get the outside three, maybe all showing a little bit more speed, all kind of trying to put pressure on each other, then maybe all of a sudden this small field, there's at least an honest enough pace for the two to be kind of brought into the race. So 5-6-4-2 for me with Naughty Rascal on top. David has 4-6-2-5. He puts rookie card on top. However, you're playing him on Saturday at Tampa. We wish you the best of luck.